Hey, what's up, everyone? So as most of you know by this point, um, I've explained that we're going to change how the campaign works a little bit, actually a lot, starting February 1st. It's kind of the drop dead date. It's going to be I'm going to be changing how I do the back end mechanics. It's going to be a little more target rich, but it's also going to be on somewhat of a set schedule, and so um, one of the upsides is you're going to be able to run your patrol somewhat independently by way of a patrol spreadsheet, which I'll walk you through is the purpose of this video. So the set time schedule is really kind of the general and broad strokes how it's going to work is, and I would encourage everybody that hasn't done so already to go into news and read the document that I put together as far as how the campaign is going to work. That's in more detail. But suffice it to say, basically the way it's going to work is when you leave on patrol, you no longer will do a crash dive before every patrol and record it before every patrol. That's done. If you want to better your crew's time, crash dive time, at that time, send me a video, send me a recording of it if you think you can get a better time. Um, Otherwise, don't bother. Okay, I'm still going to use the times in the back end mechanics for when aircraft are sighted, but you don't need to do it every time. So essentially, leaving on patrol is as simple as me giving you this patrol sheet, which I'll walk you through in this video, and you working through the patrol sheet and abiding by the messages that pop up in the patrol sheet. So things are coded into there to happen. These some random events might happen to you in transit while you're patrolling in your area. In between your contacts, you'll get things that happen to you as well. Those are all set up in the sheet. So it's really going to be there's really you those crews that enjoy doing the map plotting. You're more than welcome to keep doing the map plotting, but it's not going to be sort of a keystone cornerstone sort of thing like it was before. Um, those crews that want to keep doing it, especially the crew that's doing the celestial navigation stuff, just see me, and we can talk through the specifics of how the map plotting is going to work within the framework of the new campaign. But just for everybody else's sake, what you see in the video is basically what's going to in this video is what's going to apply for the campaign starting February 1st. So anyway, so you'll get your patrol sheet. You will get your orders in this patrol sheet. Um, at that time, I will proceed to unhide a series of tabs, whatever phase of the patrol you're currently in. So you'll have a tab for the transit to the patrol zone. You'll have a tab for the actual patrol of the patrol zone, and then you'll have a tab for when you want to RTB back to base. Okay. So typically, what we'll do, the way I envision it, is we'll spend a week in real time for crews to work through the spreadsheet um, and get out to their patrol zones. And the spreadsheet you'll basically push a button, and the spreadsheet will tell you what's happening along the way, as well as when you actually get into your area. So crews will spend a week doing that. It certainly doesn't take a week to do it, but there might be engagements that pop up that happen to crews en route. So that gives crews enough time to do engagements that they get issued during the transit phase. Once that week is up, everybody's in their zone. At that time, I will generate all the contacts for every boat in the campaign. There will be 4 boats there's 4 crews, maximum 4 crews. You'll see 4 offices at the bottom of the server. 4 crews, 4 active boats, and 4 additional boats that will be all Type 2s. All the boats that you're running will be either 7s or 9s. 4 additional boats that are Type 2s that I will run on the back end that will be in your garage, so to speak, in case your actual boat, your Type 7 or Type 9, your bigger boat gets sunk. Then it keeps you in the fight. You'll take the Type 2 for the duration of the campaign. Anyway, so at any one time there's 4 crews. Starting with that second week, really the second, third, and fourth week. Could be, could be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks, whatever. Those next few weeks will be all engagements. So I will generate contacts, or a series of contacts, for each individual boat, and I will issue you those contacts one at a time. So for the first week, you'll get your first contact. You will, and you'll see how this works in the spreadsheet, but you'll get your first contact you'll have by the end of the week to run it. The next week, you'll, to the extent you have another contact, or you want to use one of your contacts, quote unquote, to follow the convoy you had before, or finish a ship off, whatever, you'll do that in the next week, and then the next week, if assuming there's another one after that. Okay, so I feel like that's going to be a good pace. That's the reason why the 3 engagements per month minimum, because you'll have that first week of transit, followed by probably up to 3 weeks, possibly, of engagements, and then we will spend a week RTBing once everybody's done. Now everybody's gonna be on the same pace. Some people are gonna run out of torpedoes. Some people are gonna get orders to go elsewhere, etc. But in general, we're going to spend those few weeks for everybody to just do their engagements in the areas that they're currently in, and then we'll use that last phase to bring anybody back or move anybody else that gets orders to go into some other area. Okay, so the one thing to know as well, though, about the orders is you'll have, I might add a grid square just for historical flavor or whatever. Probably will, actually, because the map that Swanee and I are trying to get set up right now is just going to be a historical Kriegsmarine grid square map that'll allow everybody to, at one time, to see where everybody else's boat is in the campaign. Okay, but you might get a grid, but what you will definitely get is a minimum tonnage requirement. So those essentially will be your orders: sink X number of tonnage, and you might get it and you might not. There'll be the campaign points. The Badine stuff is going to stay, but it's going to be driven by really campaign. Interchangeably can call them campaign points or Badine's points. Okay, but they will win us benefits in a very, very similar fashion to how they did before. But to the extent somebody doesn't meet their minimum requirement, they might the campaign will get deducted points, or if the boat performs absolutely stellarly and exceeds their requirement by a pretty decent margin, then that might even be more of a bonus. But then, campaign points will be earned by sinking ships, by various different things. So it's not just achieving the mission; it's sinking ships as well that contribute to that. So what happens if you only get what happens if, let's say, this boat over here gets 3 engagements, so they'll be active for the next 3 weeks, but then you only get 1 engagement. Well, you're going to have an engagement this week, and then the next 2 weeks, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit on the sidelines? No. That's where the stat runs come in. So the stat runs, we use stock for it. No bots, but just basically go in. You won't be inhibited by duds or anything else. Just go in, submit your screenshots like you normally would, but just label that it's a stat run and engagement screenshots. Go in and sink as much as you can, and then post it, because I will use those results to score you, and the better you get in the combination of your campaign runs and your stat runs, they'll all get blended together, and you'll have a points. They'll be different than the Badine's points. You'll have a score, okay, and that score will determine on future campaigns who gets the better boats over others. And by better boats, I mean your crew skill level might be higher. You might get a better type, like the higher tonnage folks are going to get type 9s versus type 7s, etc. Not higher tonnage, but higher score. So a lot of it has to do with survivability. Don't get killed in your runs and your stat runs even. And please be honest. If you do get sunk and you do a stat run and you get sunk, don't sandbag, please, and just not submit the run. If you did it and got sunk, submit it, so I can put it in there so we can reflect it accurately. Okay, so anyway, so that being said, that's generally how the campaign is going to work. Medals will still be there. Um, the you'll get to move up your crew. Your crew will be your sort of quote unquote abstracted crew. The rest of your crew beyond your 5 guys is abstracted in the back end mechanics. So you'll have either a green crew trained, or a veteran crew, or maybe even an ace crew. Your performance in your Wolfpack runs will determine how much better you get over time. Your crew can get sort of, think of it as promoted, and that'll help you in various different ways in the campaign. But the sea trial stuff is still there. The only difference is that the only benefits that come out of them are the get out of jail free card, um, the swapping 4 sea trial points out for surviving, meaning essentially turning death into life again. We're going to keep that to incentivize people to do the sea trials and develop the skill sets and maintain skill sets, etc. So those will be there. So anyway, so enough blabbering. Let's see what the patrol sheet actually looks like. So when you get your patrol orders, they're going to look like this. They're going to look like, the first tab you're going to see is this tab here. Picture of an Enigma machine. It's going to say more than testing, but anyway, this you will get with your actual Enigma orders here. So you'll go in, and I'll probably put them also in text over here, so you can copy and paste them into the Enigma simulator, so you're not having to, because this is just an image, so you don't have to simply just type it into the machine. I'll make it so that you can copy paste. But anyway, what I would ask then, this is assuming a crew is using Enigma, most of us are, to move on, you would type in the plain text whatever the message says down here, okay, and then send me a note on Discord, and then I'll be able to obviously see that you read and understood the message, at which time I will unhide the next tab. So you'll see then your transit tab like this, right? So you got a picture of a Type 7 boat leaving port, right? So I'll have your boat type up here. This will say something along the lines of, this will say this plus your boat's name. You've got your boat status here, so there's going to be fuel simulated here. Something called stress, which is essentially your combat fatigue, if you want to think of it that way. Stress will go up over time over the course of the patrol. Every engagement causes stress. It's not all stress, it's also just overall fatigue and provisions, etc. Okay, you got your torpedo count here, you got your deck count, gun count, round count here, and then your damage status. Okay, you will have your patrol assignment here, already be pre-populated. You'll have your current location, right? So you'll know at a glance where you are. So obviously we're starting in port. So you say, okay, I've already acknowledged my orders, and BDU has unhidden the additional tab here. So let's get to it. So we're going to say, okay, let's start transiting to the assigned area. You push the button. Okay, I already see something's happened to me. So I've got, now these are just a few examples, right? I obviously haven't put everything in here. It'll be on a case-by-case basis, but in this particular case, you've got a lone merchant sighted, 6,000 tons. You're going to have a choice. You're going to say, okay, I can either just automatically just say, okay, deduct 1 torpedo and I'll gain 1 baiting point or campaign point, okay? But I forego the tonnage. I don't get the tonnage. I get the campaign point. It helps the campaign. I only use 1 torpedo. Or you could actually launch Wolfpack, and I'll give you the settings for it. I'll launch the Wolfpack. I'll earn my campaign point. I'll also earn the tonnage for the boat, for your own boat, and I'll also get an experience point that will help my crew get promoted. The skill level get better. Okay. you just need to radio whenever you see this. Just read everything completely, and then you'll see radio BDU with choice. So at this time, you click OK, say OK radio man or whoever you've got your is doing your Enigma stuff or whatever. Hey, can you draft a message to Stoss and say, hey, here's what we want to do. Okay, that's how you communicate to me. And then you do that. Okay, and then assuming that's done, let's just say you took the automatic route, I would deduct your torpedoes by 1 here, and in the back end I'd make a note that we earned a campaign point, and you'd continue. So I'd press it again. Oop, okay, we got rough weather. Well, but look what happened. The stress level went up by 1. All right. So your stress level will update. I will make sure I will set it up every time so that your events, to the extent they cause stress, will automatically update. All right. So got that. Now we're still in the North Sea, sort of the second point in the North Sea, and then we're still in transit. So we're going to push the button again. Okay, here we go. Clear weather. No effect there. Now we're in British Isles, but we're not quite in our zone yet. I'm going to push it one more time. And you can see these pictures are changing as well. It kind of shows you what stage you're in. Alright, we got to the area, but now we've got an aircraft spotted. Luckily, we did dive in time, so you'll be told whether or not you dove in time. But that also added a stress point. Okay, now you'll always get this when you get to your area. In area, report to BDU that you've arrived before getting contact. So you can see how this works. This is the general structure of the campaign. You are subjected to a series of random events. To the extent you survive those events and your boat is fit to fight, your stress level is okay, damage level is okay, you will say, okay, I'm in my patrol zone, go ahead and give me contacts. So assuming you've radioed to me that you're in your zone, then I will tell you that it's okay to generate your contacts. Boat's fit to fight, radio report sent. What do we cite? Push the button. Now you'll get your engagement. Okay, here's your first engagement. Convoy spotted. Now there's going to be a few different things here. There's going to be a tonnage cap, and there's also going to be a torpedo cap. Now this is a soft limit. It's max torpedo 6. This is the maximum you can use in this particular engagement. You can use more, however, there will be a certain amount of tonnage that you lose for every additional torpedo you fire. This is to keep people from shooting more than is historically correct. And when I say historically correct, I mean historical skippers could have shot as many torpedoes as they wanted. Could have. But had that been true, and if they were wasteful with their torpedoes, they would have had hell to pay when they got back from BDU from doing it himself. So don't forget that every torpedo that left the tube had an entire firing report, two pages, one page double-sided, that had to be filled out with the whys and the wherefores and the hows, etc., of why the torpedo was fired. Okay, so just keep that in mind. That's why this is here. It's to add an additional challenge, and it's also to add a little bit of resource management. Maximum 6 in this particular case. I could fire 7, but I'll lose 3,500 tons off of the total. And how I arrive at 35 is I take whatever the tonnage max is for the run, divide it by the number of torpedoes. In this case, 21K divided by 6 is 3,500. That's how many you lose, how much tonnage you would lose for any torpedo above that limit you shoot. Okay, so now if you only sank 2,000 tons, okay, or you didn't sink anything in 7 torpedoes, you're not going to go below 0. Okay, it's just going to be 0. All right, so the settings is just ... here. You will get settings just like you would have in the old campaign. Okay, so that's how this works. That's the transit piece. Okay, this is the transit part. Random events, contacts. Now, let's say this is the only contact you had, and you didn't want to follow it or anything else. Done. Okay. The next thing that would happen is your particular boat will get the patrol tab unhidden. Now the patrol tab has a little different layout. Generally the same, but a few different things. Okay, so you've got the first is this. You have the choice of marking this to be yes if you want to. Typically, your fuel will go down by about 6% every patrol phase, if you want to call it that. Every time you patrol, you lose about 6%. You can double that, maybe 12%, to increase the chances of you finding something in your patrol zone. Okay, it's your choice. So just know that this is up here. You'll get better chances if you select the S here. Okay, but just the cost is more fuel, right? You can see these settings have carried over from the transit. We still have 2 stress. We still have well, whatever the torpedo count is from before, deck gun count, etc. All we do here is we have to first push patrol. If we try to push this first, we'll get a box saying, push patrol in assigned area first, not so fast. Okay, so we have to patrol it to get our random events first. We patrol. Okay, now we've got us another similar thing here. We've got a naval target. This is like maybe a capital ship. We've got our choice. We could say, we can assume it's sunk with 4 torpedoes, which adds a lot of stress, and get 3 baiting points, or run it in Wolfpack, targeting the biggest target present on hard and only adding 2 stress. All right, so there's a little bit of there will be a trade-off there. Okay, and again, radio BDU with your choice. So you radio with choice. Yep. Okay, and then prior to getting any contacts, so now you say, okay, I have patrolled my zone. This is what happened to me, etc. Give me contacts. So then I'd push. What do we cite? Well, I didn't set this up with anything, but anyway, you'll have a similar engagement to the one before, or something, at least presented to you in similar fashion. Okay, so and you can see our fuel went down by about 6%. Okay, so that is how this works. And then you will stay in this tab round after round after round until you're either A, ordered elsewhere, in which case we'd hide this again and you'd be working in the transit tab and you'll have a different assignment. All right, or you get your stress is too high, or your damage is too bad, or your torpedoes are out, or whatever, and you choose to RTB. If that's the case, then you'll get the RTB tab. The picture is the same as the transit tab. We are in the patrol zone. Okay, fuel is the same. Everything is carrying over from the previous tab. We're in the British Isles. We want to go to port. So we say, okay, let's make course for port. What happens? Oh, we got lucky. So now the picture's changed to U-96 here. Picture of riding off into the sunset. You can see nothing happen there. So we keep going. Okay, we encountered a patrolling escort. Again, you're going to have a choice when you're in transit like this. You're going to say, you're either going to assume it's sunk, adding 2 stress for 2 campaign points, or run it in Wolfpack, target an escort on hard, and add only 1 stress. All right, so your radio BDU with the choice. Okay, so all right, and those aren't stuff like that. Those engagements, those choice engagements, they're not going to happen every time. I just set them up in the sheet like this to show you what's possible. Okay, there's various different things that can happen. Okay, so we keep going. Okay, no events. Now we're in the North Sea. We got 1 more to go before we are in port. All right, you've returned to port. All right, report to BDU at Pierside and give you a report. Okay, so you can see there's U-96. There's the skipper from Das Boot, and he's smiling at you, saying, "I'm glad to be home." All right. So now you're in port, and that's it. That is a patrol in the new campaign. All right. This is an anti-shipping patrol. You may get a mine laying run. You may get a port attack run. You might get some other. You might get assigned to the Battle of Narvik, for example. Still working through how all of those special missions are going to work, but the mine laying one we've pretty much arrived at is going to be something along the lines of surfacing your boat in the middle of a convoy at night. We're currently in the process of testing how lethal this is, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to have you surface in the middle of a convoy and launch 5 torpedoes and get down again and then escape. That's going to be mine laying, at least until we get Scapa flow. Then those missions like mine laying and port attacks, etc., won't be quite as abstract. But at any rate, so that's the patrol sheet. This is really what I wanted to go through in this video, as well as just go through some of the broad strokes, sort of how the campaign's going to work. But yeah, with that, let me know if you guys have any questions or comments on this, or suggestions. Definitely willing to entertain those. And yeah, so we'll just we'll hold out to February 1st, and if maybe we get super antsy, maybe we can even start it before that if everybody wants to. We do have 4 skippers that have signed on for February 1st, so we should be in good shape for that. So we'll see what happens. All right. Anyway, with that, I will say goodbye, and I will talk to you all soon.